What does the next step for Duke IT look like, and what have you got coming up?
Will domination. No,
Yeah.
the new employee starts the 1st of December, so that's going to be fun. That's first full step. Next year we're just continuing to grow, trying to adapt. We're always looking at our services, and that's what I think a lot of businesses need to do more. Is even though we are brand new, we're looking and making sure they are the right services. There might be something else that might come out that we might think. A lot of our clients need this, so we're constantly adapting our services, looking at our services, because if we don't, you go steady. We're continually adapting. Next year, we'll continue to grow. Exciting new things will be coming. It's gonna be fun. There's a million and one things racking around my brain. I'm at the Beacon Centre in Newark. That's where our office is, and I'm constantly coming down to Becky. That's the manager of it all, and sort of talking to her. And she goes, "You plan so far ahead," and I'm like, "Yes, because if I don't, I'll forget," kind of thing, uh, and things like that. And I'm sort of the yeah, let's do it person. Hannah, my wife, is very much the right. Let's take a breather,
Simmer it down, not get too
simmer it down.
excited.
Yeah, walk before we run. If I had my way, we'll have 50 employees already doing all this, and then we'll be like, bugger, right, we're gonna have to close the business because it's only years old and we can't actually afford all these 50 employees. But it was good while it lasted. So
More impulsive spending.
exactly, yeah, and that is a bugger. Impulsive spending is a bugger, kind of thing. Especially with a new tech, I'm constantly like, oh, I could really love this, and then no,
How do you manage that from a business point of view as well? Like, because I have wondered this, and like being an impulsive spender
mm,
with ADHD
mm.
in a business, how do you manage that, like from a business point of view as well, and avoid that? I'm guessing bringing your wife into the
Yes,
business is,
that
is
is
one way of doing
exactly
it.
the reason why I brought my good lady into the business. Is so she, apart from clients, because obviously client can come to us for buying hardware, anything for the business. If I need it, the first thing I do is I will call her up, even if she's not in or anything like that, and so I go, I want this, and she'll be like, why? I'd be like, because of this. She'd be like, no, no, not a good enough excuse, kind of thing. So she's able to sort of. There's been a couple of times where I've just sneaked some stuff through, now and again, but she's able to simmer me down quite a bit. So that. She's definitely the calm where I am the storm sometimes when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
It really helps having someone like that. I know. Just going back to the like the bit you said there as well about all those ideas for the business and everything like that. I'm really keen to know how you manage to um keep on top of all of those ideas and in a structured way, because it's something that I've struggled with, like personally, for well, certainly since doing the podcast and having more ideas
yeah,
about how, like, things I want to do with this and going into next year, like trying to plan it. And I'm, one of the things I'm thinking of doing is sort of getting a sort of whiteboard or vision
nice.
board or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
to just for a visual, because everything's like in here going around all the time. And it's never in, like, the same place when it's, like, comes back around, if that makes sense. So what works for you?
Trello, a program called Trello. Don't know if it's free. It's brilliant. It is literally a vision board. It's almost like a to-do structure list. So if I was to use it for business, I'd have like jobs coming in section, in process, completed, and you drag and drop them online. But like I will use it for like, oh, I've got an idea about this. Right, it's on the Trello board. I can see it, and then like, right, it's in the idea section. Let's look at investigating it. Then are we implementing it? Because we have so many great ideas. It's all over the place, kind of things. Put it down on that. You can have it on your phone, on your computer. It syncs across all the things. So like sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, that's a good idea. Put it in, and then go back to sleep again. So yeah, it's good. I'd recommend Trello.
It's a really good shout, and you're saying about those, waking up and, like, with a good idea and then putting it in. I find myself doing it a lot at the moment,
Yeah,
and it's always at the most sort of inappropriate moments when your brain's, like, starting to drift off a little bit, and you're like, "Actually, that's a really fucking good idea, and
yeah,
I need to make a note, otherwise it'll just go. It's
oh, yeah.
gone if you don't note it down there and then." So,
Sleep is a nightmare. Sleep is a nightmare.
and being a business owner, you need to make sure you're on top form. Is sleep something you generally struggle
Oh
with?
yeah,
And
yeah.
how do you manage to deal with that? Is there anything like you put in place or anything you do to help get you off to sleep? Make sure you get your 8 hours, I guess.
No, is the honest answer. Sleep is my nemesis kind of thing. I think it doesn't help that the IT sector isn't profoundly known for being night owls anyway. You know, I would, Sunday is my day of rest, kind of thing. Like, I will have more than enough sleep. It's almost like the sleep that I have missed in the week, I will catch up on the Sun kind of thing. My friends quite often joke in our group chat, like, they will ask me a question in the morning and they won't get an answer till the afternoon, because that would be me waking up at that point. I am a git, let's put it that way, with sleep within the week. So caffeine is definitely my friend. That's not the best kind of thing in the world, but you know, it's better than it was, but it still isn't great to sleep.
I can imagine as well, like running your own business, like all those ideas as well,
Yeah,
and having to kind of deal with that. And I suppose that kind of thinking's just going on and
exactly.
on. So it's kind of hard to switch off, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
exactly. And some I'll be doing like the fixing of the computers in the daytime, and then catching up on the paperwork and doing ideas in the evenings. You know, there will be some evenings that I won't get to bed till ridiculous hours, and then get up 7 o'clock in the morning, get back to work, do it all over again. I love what I do, and I love doing it. So you know, it's not so much a chore. But
and that's a really big thing, isn't it? It's like, I think for especially one with ADHD as well, is finding your passion and what you want to do.
yeah,
Because I don't know if you've like ever done anything outside of IT that you've not really enjoyed.
yeah, it's so much harder, I think, with someone with ADHD to focus if they don't like doing it, kind of thing. Like, I've been to college and done like IT and all this kind of stuff, and then did an apprenticeship. But obviously, between them, like, there were other jobs. It was a nightmare, and it was like, I did it because I needed the money. You've got to follow your passion. It's more important to follow your passion, I think, with ADHD, because you know you're not going to succeed as much, I think, if you don't. And that's really horrible to say, but like, because we hyper focus on things so much, if we don't do it, we're drifting off at work, like, to focus on the things that we want to be doing. I used to, before working in IT, I did the typical young adult and teenager thing, and I got a job in retail. And sometimes I'd be more concerned on how the till's working than actually doing other things, because it's tech. And when a till was down and their like tech team came in to fix the computers, I'd always be round looking, going, oh, and they'd be like, Connor, go and pick up some clothes. And I'd be like, no, 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 I want to listen. I want to look, do what you love.
Yeah, no, I've been there myself in retail, and it's not
Not a fun
I,
job.
no, no, definitely not. And I spent, oh God, how many years? Too many years, definitely. But I think it must have been 6, 7 years in like retail management. And at the time, like, I learned so much from that industry. There's like so much transferable skills
Yeah,
that like has really helped me. But at the same time, it was like you say, it's just not what you want to do, and it's the work feels like work. Whereas to me, when you're doing something that's your passion, like since I've started this podcast and other things, it doesn't feel like work. Is
no.
that the same for you? Do you feel like that resistance has now gone? Now you've got your own business.
Most of the time, yes. I joked with my accountant because I don't like doing bookkeeping. Don't like doing all that. The admin side of thing. That's what the wife helps with. But we went to an accountancy meeting, and we were talking, and I was just like, they even looked and went, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." It's going over my head. All I want to do is fix computers. As long as everything's going the right way, just say yes. And then they went, "Just speak to Hannah. Just speak to Hannah." At the end of the day, I may be running the business, and I may be, got employees and all this, but at the end of the day, I just want to fix computers, and that's what the ethos is, fixing. If I could, like, sort of get a business that's self-sufficient, runs by itself, you wouldn't see me on the golf course. Would I just be sat with the techs fixing them? Because that's what my passion is IT.
Amazing. And for anyone that doesn't know about Duke IT yet, what services do you offer to businesses?
I say, when clients ask me that, I go, anything nerdy, because it is. We fix computers, we manage systems, uh, we manage network infrastructure as well. Anything, we do VoIP phones, we do software, say like your antivirus, Microsoft Suite. We do web hosting. We don't develop the websites, but we're able to host them, kind of thing. So anything nerdy we can do, and it can be anything from Doris down the road who just a computer fixing, and Sun's recommended us to 100 employees of a massive business who need like that constant checking the systems, making sure they're secure, making sure they're up to date, and making sure that their business is able to run smoothly through IT. Because as much as some people like sort of resilient to technology, and it is such an important part of both work life and personal life now. So if they're not done correctly, catastrophic things can happen.
Yeah, it's a crisis, and I suppose that's when you come in, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You're at your best.
Exactly. But yes, that in a nutshell is what we do, kind of thing. And it's quite funny. Similar to yourself, I've got a couple of tattoos all around my arms, and one of for the IT guys and the network engineers out there. When you're making cable, there's a certain color code you have to have. And it's another thing of I can't for the life of me remember that color code. And I built ladders balancing with a wire stripped down to put it in this right color code, and my phone with a picture on it. So I ended up getting it. I don't know if you can see, tattooed on my arm. So I can, when I'm up there, I can remember it. And it's that them quirky little things that I do to try and help myself through the day.
That's amazing. I mean, with my tattoos, none of them really have that much of a positive thing that reminds me to do something, but they're just all sort of artistic. Maybe that's what I'll look at for the next one.
Most of them are. I joke with people, but I have a nerdy side of my body and like a memorable side of my body from like to do with family members and all this stuff. And it's just I have a black and white side and a coloured side that's all my nerdy stuff, and it's part of me.
Nice. Did you, before you were putting it in calendars, is that where you kept people's birthdays then? Or,
Yeah,
because I mean,
yeah,
I
pretty
still
much.
don't know where to put them.
Yeah. Anything of any importance even as a kid, like I need to remember to do this, and I'd come home and there'd be like dates or something like inked on my skin. And my mum would be like, "Stop drawing yourself," and I'm like, "That's the only way I'm going to remember to do this."
And how was you, mentioned about when you was younger, like, how was life for you before you realised you were neurodiverse?
I was a loud child, but a quiet child. I know that sounds really weird to say. I was very sort of loud and hyper with my friends, but then, I'd also like mask or try and mask within school because I didn't want to be sort of put out differently. So I'd be like out and about and, you know, running around like a headless chicken with all my friends. But then in school, I'd be very quiet because especially with having like dyslexia as well, I struggled with like the conventional learning environment anyway. It was a mixed bag, as weird as that sounds.
You talked there about masking, which for anyone that's like listening to this, which doesn't know, if you want to just tell people what that like kind of looks like and what masking is, it really is.
Yes. So it's like putting on like a front, and it's so draining because like I'm 10 different people to 10 different people. So like in the business when I'm business networking events, I could be very much reserved and quiet kind of thing, and that's a mask because I know that I need to have a front almost. But then with my friends, it's like the mask comes off and it's all over the place, and they just go with the flow. And it was the same for schools. I was in school, just try and be as normal as you can, and it's a hard thing to do. And I try to do it as little as possible now because if you don't like me, you don't like me. This is how I am. I love myself now. You're not going to impress everybody. You're not going to be liked by anybody. But that's what masking is. It's putting like a front up. That's the best way I probably can describe it.
Yeah, and it can be really difficult because I think some people assume that it's something that you do sort of voluntarily as
Mm.
well, that you're trying to be a different person. And I saw, or well, I had a comment on a TikTok post a little while ago about it not being authentic and about masking is like you lying to people. And I think it said if you were someone's partner, like how does the partner not feel betrayed or something like that. But it's completely not it's not a choice. It's not like you're creating this persona, trying to fit in. It's like a defense mechanism, or
100%. It is a self-preservation thing. Because the people. So it's sort of like a subconscious thing. I feel because it's not we're not lying, but we're also just trying to protect ourselves. As daft as that sounds, it's like you wouldn't
trying
get
to
annoyed.
blend in, aren't you? So
Exactly. You wouldn't want a knight to go into battle without his armor, and that's what masking is for someone with ADHD. It's that armor. It could be a subconscious thing from like past trauma, or it could be, something like they want to blend in. They don't want to be known to be different kind of thing. But in my opinion, you need to be your own self. But it is everybody does it, even if they don't want to do it. Some ADHD people will mask subconsciously.
Yeah, the irony of it is that the stigma behind ADHD is that you think of ADHD as being the naughty kid that was like always loud,
Yep.
that got kicked out of school, kicked out of class all the time, being disruptive. But for the majority, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is some people out there that,
Mm.
have ADHD that have been like that, but for the majority, that's not the case. And it's just mad how the stigma is, and this idea of ADHD, especially, as a child, teenager sort of thing, is so different from what people like me and you have experienced and were like back then.
And that's the thing is like when I started going down the ADHD rabbit hole, so to speak, and it's a good rabbit hole, but it is a rabbit hole, kind of thing. I spoke to my parents about it, and the first words were, but you weren't like a naughty boy, the typical naughty boy syndrome,
Yeah.
because that's what it was when I was a kid. Oh, that's the naughty boy syndrome kind of thing, and it's so much more than that. And it is such a it's less stigmatized than it was now because of social media in a good way. There's that not everything is good with social media, but the sort of the platforms have allowed people with ADHD to sort of show them true show the true selves and talk about it. That's good, but yeah, it's still got some way to go. I think in some people's eyes to sort of get it out of that naughty boy because there's so many. There's I saw a picture on I think it was social media. I can't remember which social media it was, and it was like an iceberg, and you only saw the top, and it just like hyperactive and things, and then
Yeah,
underneath
and then there's
you're
so much more underneath the
so much,
surface, isn't there?
yeah, so much that people don't realise until you're living with someone with ADHD, and that's the thing is, it's there is so much more that people don't realise.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, there is so much more to it than what a lot of people think.
Mm.
And that iceberg, I've seen it a few times now, and it's like there is just so much more that's surface level. And like you say about the masking as well, I think the masking often covers that up. But I think it was a great analogy that you used there about that night going into battle, because it is almost like a sort of fear thing of like being yourself. How have you learned to kind of unmask over the years and feel like be more authentic?
I'm still learning. I am still learning, and I think it will be a journey that I will have to sort of keep going for the rest of my life. But it's a sad but sweet sort of thing where my nephew he's been diagnosed with Asperger's, and they're now looking at like ADHD and autism and all this kind of stuff. It sort of opened my eyes a little bit with him because like his mum sort of gone, how I've been able to sort of help him out is by being with you because they're very, very close. We call them nephews. They're not our blood, but she's been able to help him through knowing me, and that sort of opened my eyes to go, I don't need to mask as much because I am good at being myself. I have my pros, I have my negatives. Like I said earlier, if you don't like me,
Shit.
exactly, yeah, tough shit. I'm not trying to people please everybody anymore, and that's been probably the most difficult thing. Is sort of going, I can't make everybody happy. Some people are just grumpy, kind of thing. So as long
Yeah.
as I'm true to myself, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a hard thing that when you say that people pleasing there, that's a really, I know, something that's still a little bit I wrestle
Mm.
with at times, and it's such a hard thing. Like I used to do it so much over the years, and it wasn't intentional, but I'd often like put other people's needs above my own, just to
Yeah.
like you say, like people please really, and it's a really difficult thing to like completely
Oh yeah.
overcome. Such a hard thing to really start to not do that as much. And but I think that comes part and part with that unmasking, and being like, if you don't like me, then well, it's a you problem, it's not a me problem.
Exactly. As long as no means by saying that I've stopped people pleasing, because it's
Yes.
just like I said. There's always going to be that little bit of masking that comes out now and again. It's a case of trying to understand how I am and try and show because it's not. I'm not a bad guy. when people understand the real me, they'll sort of hopefully, if they like me and want to be friends, so to speak, or acquaintances, then that's fine. But if they don't, it's also fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've known each other a little while now from
Yeah,
the networking and things like that. I'm really interested to hear like how you've found that whole experience because for me initially, well, even sometimes still, when you walk into that like the Lincoln Business Club and it's like a packed room, and
yeah,
if you walk in there a bit late and it's like a wall of sound and
yeah.
everyone seems to be engaged conversations, and I just don't even know where to start sometimes.
Overload. Because I'm so bad with times, things like that. I always get there early, kind of thing. So I I like to get in when there's a couple of people there, not loads of people there, kind of thing. And also when there's no, I don't want to be there when there's just the committee there, kind of thing. But it's almost like I've got to warm myself up to all the noises and the senses. So if I get there, that as it grows, if the noise grows, it's not like going from outside where it's nice and quiet to indoors where it's like everything's there and everybody's close, kind of thing. So if I do it that way, I'm able to ease into it. And I try and stick away from like the teas and coffees because that's where everybody congregates to.
Yeah.
So if I can help it, I get it quick and then go and speak to people that are further away. As horrible as that sounds.
No, I completely understand it, but a lot of people, especially people who are not neurodiverse, won't understand it and won't understand what that feels like. Because it can, yeah, like you say, it can be daunting, especially when you're going from the outside
Yeah.
quiet to just complete noise. So, but it sounds like I need to get up earlier and get there a little bit earlier.
I have to set about 4 alarms. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like it's all off. Right, I'm going back to bed. By the fourth one, I'm getting kicked out of bed by my wife. Just get up, kind of thing.
And one of the biggest struggles for me, like working, especially in a busy environment like that, is and you said there about the tea and coffee and how everyone congregates, is when you're having a conversation with someone. Sometimes I find it really hard to just focus entirely on what they're saying
Yeah.
without hearing other people's conversation. And that's not me earwigging.
No,
That is just
that's
picking
just your brain
everything
going
up,
like
just
that.
being
Yeah.
so aware. Is that something you experience
Oh
as
yeah.
well?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Quite often. That's why I like being that end, if that makes sense, because it dulls it down a little bit.
I think last time we spoke, we was actually like that
Yeah.
end as well, weren't
Yeah.
we? Away from
Yeah.
everyone's.
It, it it is that thing of like you're not earwigging, but you're hearing everything because your senses are on overload. And even when I change the subject a little bit, but still on lenses, I wear loop earbuds for like and for like when we're going into busy like places because they are nice and for outdoors they're hidden unless you're looking in my ear you don't know. But when you're trying to calm down to go to bed, everybody else could be like, there's no noise on, but I can hear like little things out in the background, so I put them on.
What do the loop earphones? What do they actually do? Because I've heard of them before, but I'm not entirely sure what they are.
All they do is they're like a little circle with like an in-ear. If you was to put an in-ear
Like an
headphone in.
earbud sort of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. And there's different types. There's like the Loop Quiet, that's the one I've got. That is literally it's nice and soft for people that want to wear it for bed. But there's like different ones where they basically change the noise you can get through. So there's ones that you like interchangeable. They sort of have so it's weird to explain. So you plug it in and it's like you've got headphones in, but there's no music. Not noise cancelling ones. They're ones that like dull all the noise down, so then you're able just
Right. Yeah.
to focus. So it's not so much of like a sensory overload. I can have like the ones that are for like communication, yeah, and then you can have it for gigs, and then you can have the quiet ones that are just the strongest ones, so to speak. So they muffle the most noise.
Okay, that's good to know, and I'm sure like people listening to this as
Uh,
well
yeah,
would take value from that because the amount of people I speak to have those similar
yeah.
experience, the sensory overload of busy places and things like
Mm.
that, and you just have to walk into a Primark and it's like I could do with
I
a pair
don't
of those.
I don't walk into Primarks. My wife will be like, "Well, we're going down the high street. If we will go to Lincoln, and she'll be like, I'm popping into Primark. I'm sitting on a bench.
Have a good time. See you
Yeah,
later.
see you later. Yeah, not going in there.
Yeah, I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, but they do help if specifically if you really do struggle, and you don't mind having because I know some people don't like the feeling of the like in ear headphones, but if you don't mind that, they have been a godsend.
I'll certainly have a look,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely.
But, one question before we sort of close, because 'cause you've shared so much today already. What is one thing that if you could go back in time and tell, say, your 15-year-old self, what would you go back and tell 15-year-old Connor?
The struggles and the pains that you are facing now is going to be what makes you as strong as you are in the future. So, like I might be struggling with all them little things when I was a kid, but it's all going to be all right because it molds you into the person that you are today. And I've not finished molding myself and I'm not finished growing, but it's going to be okay. I saw a TikTok and they were saying, isn't it ironic that you have molded yourself into the person that your younger self would want to have been protected by? And that's what it is. It's a case of you'll be all right. Just keep going. You're almost done with school. It wasn't your place. So just keep going and you'll grow into the person you're meant to be. And hopefully one day I'll get to the person I'm meant to be, kind of thing.
Yeah, you certainly seem like you're almost there, to
No, I
be fair. I
appreciate that.
mean, absolute testament to you in terms of what you've built with Duke IT, the journey you're on, the absolute kind of growth that you've gone on since April is amazing. Love hearing what you're doing every time you're at Business Club as well, and appreciate getting to learn more about you,
No, I
Connor,
appreciate it.
and your business today.
No,
For anyone that wants to follow you, where can they follow you and get in touch with you if they want to
yeah.
hear more about your story or about your business as well?
Yeah, so if you want to find anything out about the business, our website, dukeitsupport.co.uk, you'll get all the LinkedIn sort of and Facebook and Instagram icons around there, so you can follow us on the social medias. And if you're following on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find me through comment section on my and liking of my own company photos, because you got to keep the word out there. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and then you can follow me on LinkedIn and I'm very open and honest with my personal struggles and triumphs on my LinkedIn. So yeah, you can follow me there as well.
That's brilliant, Connor, and really are an inspiration
Appreciate that.
to, and how you can go from where you were to now owning your own business and, going onwards, growing
Yeah,
onwards, well,
I appreciate
upwards,
that.
and even further. So thank you for sharing all that today,
Not a
and,
problem.
really appreciate you coming on the ADHD Biography podcast.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me, John.